And I'm back with another Front Row Talk podcast, a podcast with expensive opinions. This is episode 64. Make sure you subscribe, you like, you comment, and you share this video. Make sure you check the description down below so you can check my Instagram and TikTok where I post clips of each and every single episode. Before I get started, make sure you tune into last week's episode 63, where I talked about the New York City smoke because of the Canada wildfire, and I also talked about some rumored upcoming music that's still in the air. But tune into that episode, tune into the TikTok. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, share with a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's get into this episode. As you can see by the title, I'm going to be talking about basketball. Last time I talked about basketball, which was 2 episodes ago, you guys kind of, tuned in. I got a good amount of views for what I usually get, so I'll be back talking about basketball for this episode. But the season is over, of course. The finals are done. I feel like, of course, I'm talking a bit late on it just because, I drop every Friday. And this series was done pretty quick, in 5 games. That was back Monday this week. But to get to it, Denver Nuggets won the 2023 championship. They're the NBA champions. I respect it. Jokic won Finals MVP. I respect it. I feel like both of those were expected. Majority of people were going for Denver. But yeah, to get to it, Denver won 4-1. My original take was Denver in 6. I thought Miami was going to be able to take 2 games from Denver, but they clearly did it. The last game, Game 5, Miami was actually playing a great game all throughout. They took like 10-point leads, 11-point leads around there, and they was like engaged throughout the whole game, but it just wasn't enough by the 4th quarter. Denver flipped the switch. Denver, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect them to be this good. They was good all around, through all positions, bench, like they was complete, great coach. Their player did an amazing job. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time there's a Finals MVP who's a center since like couple of in many years. So Jokic is already in talks of top 5 center ever or top 10. Everybody likes to entertain and have different talks. To me, honestly, I don't know. I could probably have him top 10 center ever. Yeah, so far, he has a long career to go. He's still young. I feel like this Denver team should stay. If they make any improvement, probably bring, whoever they draft, probably stay with them or whatever. But try to keep, the same guys again, because this team, they look like they could actually, build something nice for themselves. Of course, they're still going to go through other good teams in the West and new improved teams. But as of now, they're the champions, so they're the best team. They worked for the championship. I seen a lot of people try to hate and talk bad about how they had an easy run or whatever. That always comes each and every year with whoever wins the championship. But they worked for that seeding. That's just who they had to face, and they did what they had to do. They beat Minnesota in 5. They beat Phoenix in 6. They swept the Lakers. Then they beat Miami in 5. So they didn't let nobody take them to 7 games. Just all around team. Now talking on Miami, much respect to Jimmy Butler, but they need a star. They need another star, or they need a star. If some people don't consider Jimmy a star. That's a whole different conversation though. But I feel like they need another star. They need somebody else who could really give them 30, consistently. Cause I feel like Jimmy carries them all throughout the playoffs, and then come finals time, I wouldn't say he's gassed out, but he's just not efficient. And being efficient is super, super important, especially if you're facing a team who's better than you. By a big margin, honestly. There's talks that, they might get Beal or they might get Dame or whatever. It's a lot of things that's up in the air as of now. But Respects to Jimmy. I didn't expect him to win, honestly. So it's more so like, but of course there was at the biggest stage they can't back down. So they had to have good spirits and just play a game at a time. But yeah, shout out to Bruce Brown, shout out to Murray, shout out to Jokic, shout out to Gordon, shout out everybody in Denver. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting off season. I'm not gonna lie, cause it's gonna be a lot of changes. My team is gonna have some changes as well. The Golden State Warriors. Though I feel like every off season is kind of sneaky good, cause just people who's um going from a team to another and affecting them and making them better or worse or whatever the case may be. Coaches being hired, GMs being taking steps down, and new GMs coming. So this 2023 off season is gonna be very very interesting. Zion may not even be a Pelican. May not be in Portland. Bu might not be in the Wizards. Fred Van Vliet might not be a Raptor anymore. So it's like you gotta watch out for like anything, any move. And something else about that is too that the draft is in 9 days. So a lot of teams is trying to draft high as they can. Other teams are trying to like draft high so they could use that for a trade for role players or probably like a big blockbuster trade. So it's like I feel like everybody's trying to be in position to win now and nowadays, especially since the Kings are now a good team. OKC is a team that could actually have some type of faith in going far. It's just you had Denver winning their first chip ever, so I feel like it's kind of it's a balance in the NBA right now. It's definitely a balance, and I like the way it's looking. Now, to go back to the Nuggets specifically, I want to talk on Jokic. I remember probably like one of the first videos that I did on this season, or no, it was I think it was the first video I did predicting the playoffs, and my prediction, my exact words was, we'll see who has the last laugh. And it's funny because the Joker had the last laugh. Jokic had the last laugh. For those who don't know, he goes by the Joker, so it's kind of like, it's funny in a sense. But I feel like he got robbed, and I know you may say like, what you mean by robbed? I feel like he should have won MVP this season. I don't think that Embiid and Jokic is a conversation anymore on who's better. Jokic is definitely better. I mean, he got way farther than Embiid. He won it. Like, I just felt like, I mean, Embiid did have a case for MVP, but I would have gave it to Jokic, and that would have just been scary. 3-time MVP, back to back to back, and then a Finals MVP. Then you're giving that team their first ring ever. It's like so much on the line, and then his resume will be looking, and he's still young, so it's like, it would have just been. Yeah, I know. Years from now, we're gonna like look back and be like, damn, like, and I know maybe some people are gonna say that he won. Like some people in in the upcoming years might use that he won this year, like the MVP, to their argument or whatever the case may be, because it honestly feels like he should have honestly got it. But the NBA is surrounded by many good star players, and everybody just tries their best to do what they have to do. But Jokic should have won. I kept on saying this off cameras too to the people who I talk to on the daily. And yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. He honestly doesn't care. And another funny thing about Jokic is supposedly he lost the Finals MVP trophy. Like it was whatever to him. It was pretty funny because it's like he kind of showed no emotion as well when they won the finals. He was just like, "Oh, I'm ready to go home." You normally don't see that from star players, especially their first chip. It was just a lot on the line for him to just be like, whatever. But you gotta respect him. He goes out there, he plays basketball the right way, at a high level, and it is what it is. It's gonna be interesting seeing how this Denver team comes back next year. It's gonna be interesting seeing how Miami comes back this year. And the reason why I say those two teams specifically, not because though they were the last two teams. But because Denver could arguably be the best team in the West coming in next year, and the question is do they keep that? Do they get better? Do they stay the same? And then for Miami, it'll be like I feel like they'll always be the underdog, but it's like, are they gonna really be underdogs depending on who they pick up? So I feel like Miami could only get better, and I feel like Denver could only get better as well, but they could also stay the same. And if they stay the same, that's not a problem. So yeah, I mean, that's really it for this episode. Denver's your 2023 champions. Of course, not seeing my team up there, kind of like damn, and I feel like that's for everybody else. For whoever was going for the Lakers, Boston, 76ers, like, the teams who was left in the playoffs. But, just try to enjoy it as much as possible. A lot of people saying that it was the most boring finals ever. I mean, that's up to you to decide. It is what it is to me, but it's going to be an interesting offseason. I'll definitely come back and talk about, offseason trades. It's yet to get started. We have a long summer ahead of us, hopefully. And the NBA will be back in October in full effect. Hopefully, your favorite team, does some good pickups. And I hope my favorite team does as well. It's your boy Ssalcita. This is episode 64. Make sure you subscribe, you like, you comment, and you share this video. Check the description down below to check the link for my Instagram and TikTok. I'll be back next week, God willing, and I'm out.